stop the projector so it's not all right, hey, I'm gonna sit down here, right? See ya. You all good?
Okay, students, if you could have a seat, please. Thank you. My name's Jamie Canaday, and I want to welcome you to Oxford Area High School and to the James S. Herr Auditorium for our Distinguished Alumni Induction Ceremony. I want to take a moment and thank our distinguished alumni committee members for making this day possible. Our committee members are Anne-Marie Anderson, Susie Logenberger, Brenda Moran, and Christy Spano, all of whom are proud Oxford Area School District graduates. So thank you. And on behalf of the entire school district, I want to congratulate our newest inductees and their families on this great honor. At this time, I ask that you please silence cell phones and electronic devices, and please rise as our choral ensemble honors our country with the singing of the national anthem.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. At this time, our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. David A. Woods, will come to the podium. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to James S. Herr Auditorium. I'll be brief. All of you in this room have not sat through Distinguished Alumni before, so a little bit as to why we do this. These two individuals, one from the class of 1995 and one from the class of 2007, embody their classes and embody the Oxford Area School District vision of Kids First, Progress, and Unity. They took what they learned here in the Oxford Area School District and applied it to the outside world, and they did a fantastic job doing that. We have you listen to their stories because that's what we want for each and every one of you. So please, listen to them, take a piece of what they have done, and carry it with you over the next year, over the next 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, and be successful with your diploma. Enjoy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily Horton, and it is an extreme honor and privilege to be presenting you all with one of our distinguished alumni of the evening. Our distinguished alumni is being honored today. Dr. Allison Logenberger is truly one of a kind and a real-life superhero. Dr. Logenberger graduated from the University of Scranton in 2000 with a master's degree in physical therapy. She worked clinically for 10 years in a variety of settings, became certified in lymphedema therapy, served as a clinical instructor for graduate students, and spent a month volunteering in St. Lucia with health volunteers overseas. In December of 2009, Dr. Logenberger received her PhD in epidemiology from the University of Pittsburgh. Her dissertation focused on the measures of physical function as potential risk factors for diabetes and insulin resistance, HIV-infected and HIV-uninfected men. Her findings were later published within 2 journals. Dr. Logenberger served as a Center for Disease Control and Prevention Epidemic Intelligence Service Officer assigned to the Pennsylvania Department of Health from 2010 until 2012, and was a lieutenant commander in the United States Public Health Service Commission Corps. During this time, she led several extensive high-profile investigations, including the largest unpasteurized milk outbreak in Pennsylvania state history. From 2012 until 2020, Dr. Logenberger worked as an epidemiologist within the Bureau of Epidemiology as a Pennsylvania Department of Health representative. She received the Bureau of Epidemiology's 2018 Excellence in Epidemiology and Leadership Award, obtained her certification in infection prevention and control, implemented rapid reporting for national abstinence syndrome in response to the governor's emergency declaration for the opioid crisis, and has supervised for the Epidemic Intelligence Service Office through the Pennsylvania Department of Health from 2016 until now. In February of 2020, Dr. Logenberger was promoted to epidemiologist supervisor within the Pennsylvania Department of Health, a position which she currently holds. She played an integral role in the department's COVID-19 response and served as the epidemiology team leader responsible for guiding and training staff, disseminating guidance, informing stakeholders, and handling response activities. She currently supervises 14 epidemiology staff, investigations, and outbreaks. During her time at the health department, she has served as an author and co-author of a dozen peer-reviewed journals, while also presenting at several national conferences. She has achieved so much this far in life, and her service and work to not only those around her, but to individuals around the world has helped so many, enabling them to live a better, healthier life. Her efforts and accomplishments will surely inspire generations to come, and I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this acknowledgement and honor. So on behalf of OAHS and everyone across the globe, I offer our most sincere gratitude and appreciation for your tireless hard work and dedication. So without further ado, I present to you all Dr. Allison Logenberger, the newest member of our Oxford Area High School Distinguished Alumni.
Good afternoon. I would first like to thank the members of the selection committee for this tremendous honor. I have seen the list of previous recipients, and I'm humbled to be included among some of Oxford's most accomplished alumni. There are 2 key lessons that I want to impart today. First, success is a team sport, and secondly, give yourself permission to follow your passion. 27 years ago, I stood on a stage in the old high school auditorium and delivered a graduation speech in which I quoted a poem called The Bridge by Shel Silverstein. My speech concluded with the following lines from the poem: "But this bridge will only take you halfway there. The last few steps you'll have to take alone." At the time, I felt I was giving sage advice. However, I have learned throughout the years that none of my successes were ever accomplished alone. During each stage of my schooling and career, I have had teachers, mentors, colleagues, coworkers, and family pushing me to become the best I could be. In Oxford, I had many teachers who believed in me and fostered my strengths, while also challenging me to step outside of my comfort zone. There are too many to individually name, but each were instrumental in my successful transition to college at the University of Scranton. Since then, there have been others along the way, including my late anatomy professor whose adage, "Make it make sense," still resonates with me today, the physical therapist who strengthened my faltering confidence after I met my first patient with a spinal cord injury, and my PhD advisor who opened his heart and his door to my newborn son when meetings were essential but childcare was challenging. However, it was during the COVID-19 response that I really came to understand the true importance of a strong team. As an infectious disease epidemiologist, also known as a disease detective, I had previously led or co-led several high-profile outbreak investigations. But the COVID pandemic tested me personally and professionally. My responsibilities were vast and immense, but I had an entire room of colleagues in the trenches with me. I am proud of what we accomplished together. We might not have been prepared for the magnitude of the pandemic, but as public health professionals, we were ready to do whatever it took to save lives. However, I would not have had the opportunity to be part of the Department of Health team if I hadn't given myself permission to follow my passion. Epidemiology was not my first career. I started college with the goal of becoming a physical therapist. It was during my physical therapy schooling that I first fell in love with infectious diseases and the idea of working on outbreak investigations. Although I did go on to complete my master's in physical therapy and have a successful career, deep down I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do long term. So, at age 28, I decided to go back to school to pursue a PhD in epidemiology. The decision was scary and life-altering in the best possible way. I now can't imagine doing anything else. We don't always know what we want to do at 18 years old, and that's okay. Give yourself permission to make changes and follow your passion. It is never too late. To come full circle, I will close today with another quote about a bridge. This quote by Paul Boynton really speaks to all I have learned in the last 27 years. Sometimes we need a bridge, and sometimes we are the bridge. No one I know has escaped troubled waters, rough seas, and challenging, scary days. There are times in our lives when we could use a little help, and other times when we are given the chance to be that help for someone else. It really doesn't matter where you are right now. What matters is that you remember we are stronger together, and taking a hand is just as important as offering one. Thank you again for this tremendous honor.
Good afternoon. My name is Tim Lamb, and today I am proud to introduce to you our distinguished alumni, Kyara, or Kiki, Gray. Mrs. Gray was nominated for this year's award by our social studies teacher, Ms. Baja Manisso. According to Ms. Baja, Mrs. Gray was very enthusiastic, a hardworking student, involved in numerous athletics and activities, and comes from a family that has shaped the Oxford community in many ways. Her uncle, Harold Gray, was the first African-American mayor of Oxford, sworn in 1993 until his retirement in 2005. After graduating Oxford Area High School in 2007, Mrs. Gray attended Lafayette College, where she obtained a Bachelor of Science in Economics and Finance to pursue a real estate career. While in college, Mrs. Gray was a member of the Lafayette College Board of Trustees and president of Gilman School Alumni Association Board of Governors. Mrs. Gray was also fortunate enough to meet her husband in college, and together, Charm City Buyers in September of 2012, 110% since starting her company. Today, Mrs. Gray has a Maryland real estate license and has over 20 rental units in Baltimore and Hartford. It is my honor to present her to you today. Thank you.
Hi there. So I looked around the room, and it's actually kind of funny because I think I know some of your parents or siblings or uncles, and so it's really nice to see you all today. So first, I'd like to thank the administration and selection committee for honoring me as a distinguished alumni of Oxford Area High School. Obviously, a big shout out to my family, who's notorious for always showing up. my dad, my mom, and my brother, who can recite every game, race, or accomplishment I've ever had, since they've never been too far. My grandparents used to come to school to pick me up when I was done for the day or sick and needed some chicken noodle soup or grilled cheese. My aunts, uncles, and tons of cousins who made sure I stayed out of trouble and on the right path. And of course, my daughter, Michaela, and husband, Khalil, who make anything about me remotely distinguished. So it's funny, I actually remember sitting in those same seats in this award. I had the benefit of spending half of high school in the old high school and the other half in this one. So I literally sat in these seats. And in 2006, I actually was who introduced Berkey Nelson, who also won the Distinguished Alumni Award. So I know I'm supposed to talk about myself and tell you all of these great things to do and hope for and accomplish, about how I cheered as varsity as a freshman here at the high school, played basketball and ran track every season all throughout the school years. I could tell you about my time in student council or homecoming court or FBLA and all the fun times we had at Hershey. I can tell you all about how Ms. Bosch's class helped shape my worldview, or how Ms. Weber made sure I know now how to read a profit and loss statement. I could talk about an era of amazing Oxford basketball, men and women, where we traveled all over the state to watch us go to districts and states and everything else for probably about a 6 to 8 year period. It was a great time. Or even how it felt to break all those track records, although I heard Miss Walker is working on taking all of them down. All the coaches and teachers who made sure I never forgot my potential, or at least let me do my own thing within reason as I figured it all out. Instead, I'm going to share a little bit less about me and more about how this town shaped my experiences through way more than teaching me how to pass a buggy when I learned how to ride a car. It's going to sound a little bit like a history lesson for a minute, but stick with me. And if it helps for my credibility, part of my bio is that I have like 70,000 followers on Instagram, so I should be cool enough to stand up here and talk to you guys. Yeah, I'll tell you the Instagram handle later. So does anyone live in or around Lincoln University, or like know where it's at, kind of? Cool. So can anyone shout it out? So we're already kind of laughing at me anyway, but can anyone shout out the name of that area, what it used to be called before the school was there? Does anyone know? No. I couldn't hear that, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't correct. It was Hinsonville. And so Hinsonville was a town started in actually 1829 by my ancestors. So they started farms and businesses, created a community, churches, and not only was it a town in and of itself, but it really helped to build the foundation of what we see as Oxford today. They even actually owned founding shares of the National Bank of Oxford in 1865. So from the early 1800s to now, the Grays and Drapers have walked the halls of Oxford Area High School. I even have a picture of my grandfather on the steps of elementary school in Oxford when it was still segregated. And we just mentioned my Uncle Harold Gray was the mayor of Oxford for 12 years, from 1993 to 2005. So my passion for building community and connecting with folks and really being able to create something special comes from the history of growing up, hearing all of the great stories of the people who've walked these halls before me. From knowing that if they could prosper and build and create a legacy, so could I. And so can you. My senior superlative says, I wanted to work at a Fortune 500 company with a red convertible and a poodle inside a Louis Vuitton carrying case. So although my superlatives mention that Fortune 500, I did that for a little while. I cut that short and worked with my husband to earn a spot in Forbes magazine, which was kind of cool, so switched it up a little bit. And I even have a dog and maybe a Louis or two as well. So to you I say, remember that the things you say, you think, and do matter. They can come true. That thing that keeps you up at night or wakes you up in the morning, those hopes, wishes, and dreams, they actually come true, even from those of us from a small town in Pennsylvania. Thank you again so much for this honor, and go Hornets.
If you could, please remain silent as we sing, our choir ensemble sings our alma mater. Thank you.
Alma mater, deeply carved on every heart, shall be found unwavering true, when we from life shall part. High school life at best is passing, gliding swiftly by. Let us pledge in word and deed our love for Oxford High, for across life's mighty ocean, to thee our loyal hearts we raise. Sturdy stands our firm devotion, our voices sing thy praise. Through the years that are before us, we'll strive in war and peace. We'll always keep our light to guide us until our work shall cease. Alma mater, alma mater, forward to the skies. Our light will clearly glow, see precious stars.
Thank you. So once again, I just want to congratulate our newest inductees into our distinguished alumni. We thank you for your words of encouragement. I hope that the Oxford community continues to hold a special place for you. As a school district, we are so very thankful for the role models that you are to our student body. To our student body, please, if you're so inclined and you'd like to stick around and ask a question or two to one of our inductees, you're more than welcome. I appreciate your cooperation and your respect during our distinguished alumni induction ceremony, so thank you. At this time, you are dismissed back to period 7. Have a great day. Go Hornets.